for me, it's just like, what do we need to be focusing on today, this week, this month, this year, or this quarter? Probably. I don't think we think in years because we move really fast. And like in a year, it's going to be unrecognizable. In a quarter, we'll probably have 3 more products launched. So we'll go from like 2 to 5 products, which is a big change. Bundles, upsells, cross sells, lots of new strategies. We'll have our Google and Amazon more dialed in. We'll probably have like a 30 more influencers on retainer.
This is Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgensen.
Welcome out to Biz Ninja Entrepreneur Radio. I'm your host, Tyler Jorgensen, and today we've got Jake Rosenburg, who, just like every young man, dreamed of starting a cosmetic company, and but really found a missing piece in the marketplace when it came to cosmeceuticals, and started a really cool company called Krete Club. And I think it's Krete.club is the website, so we've got to check that out. But Jake, we're really excited to have you on the show to talk about your journey and what's going on over there at Krete. Welcome out to the show.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being on.
Yeah. So I don't know if that is necessarily the company you dreamed of starting, but how did you come up with the idea? And give us like what the elevator pitch real quick of what Krete is.
So I'll give you the elevator pitch first, and then I'll kind of get into it. So it's essentially, you know how guys are usually lazy about taking care of their skin. Everything's either too feminine, it's too complicated. You need like a chemistry degree, or maybe like you need a dermatologist. Either way, none of those routes are for like a normal guy to have good quality skin and look good. So we made Krete. Our tagline is 30-second skincare because our promise is all our products take less than 30 seconds to understand and less than 30 seconds to use. Packaging is unisex. It's not masculine, it's feminine. It's taking care of like an organ, which is your skin. So it's like, if you want to look good, but you don't waste time, you don't be stuck in a bathroom, there's Krete.
I love that. Okay, so now, how did you come up with this idea?
So I've always been an entrepreneur. I started tutoring back in high school. I've actually never been employed, which is kind of funny. I mean, I had internships and things in college, but I don't think that's technical, gainful employment. So I started a software company at college, did a fund. I had a shoe company. So I'd have done a bunch of things. In 2017, I had a ski accident. You can probably see here, there's a scar on my nose. And it used to be significantly worse. The ski hit me, whole thing. So you can't really hide a scar on your face, let alone on your nose. You know, if it was here, maybe I could grow my hair or sunglasses or something. In fact, I actually had to wear this for like a year to stay out of the sun. Because like scars will... when they get sun, they actually get lighter, or the rest of your skin gets darker. So I had to get very serious about skincare, SPF, concealer to hide it, hyaluronic acid serums. And I didn't really know. I didn't know like any of that. I knew what you bought at CVS. And so I walked into a Sephora and an Ulta, and I was like, yeah, I need help with this. And they weren't built. They're not a business or a customer experience. It's meant for someone like me, the guy who washes his face with a bar soap and things like that. But I had to, out of necessity, learn the products that would work. So I said, okay, well, there's probably 4 products here that'll work great. And I found them, but it took hours and multiple trips and a lot of research. And again, I had to do that. I had no choice. Other guys who maybe have a little acne, they might have a choice, and the laziness or the fear of that experience wins out. So I thought, well, if Krete existed back then, it would have been the perfect brand for me. So I essentially designed it for the experience I would have wished I had at that point.
Yeah.
And it was super simple explanations, much better branding, much better communications with consumers, just high quality ingredients, not the stuff you just pick up at CVS.
That makes it makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you saw the problem and you're like, I got to fix this. But before that, you said that you've always been an entrepreneur, right? When was the moment of life that you're like, that you knew you just weren't like everyone else and that you were not going to seek that employment route?
Well, both of my parents, my mom's a doctor. And so she, from a young age, was like, medical school sucks. You start your life at 30, especially I thought I wanted to be a surgeon when I was younger. Like I really was. She's like, you'll start your life at 30. And the way medicine is going, everyone will sue you and think they know better than you on the internet from WebMD. It's like, well, that sucks. And unless you're going to be a cosmetic surgeon, you're not going to make as much money as I think you want to make. I'm like, okay, fair enough. My dad was an investment banker. I just did not like finance because I want to build things. So I saw their 2 career paths as like, not for me, but successful. And so, I don't know, I always liked to build things. And so when you like to build things, you kind of build your own things. I don't know. I remember my mom saying when I was 5 years old, like the art teacher would say, do this, and I would do something completely different. And it was like, it was
Yeah.
good, I guess, but like not what she asked for.
Yeah.
And then the other story they say is like, I went to, a nice private school in Long Island. And when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I kind of ended up being the bank for like the kids around me because there were these bagel sales that were $1 or $2. And I would bring extra money for the parents who didn't really focus on their kids as much. And I'd lend the money and they'd owe me like, if I lent them $2, they owed me 4 next week. So I didn't realize I had incredibly steep interest rates. And if someone didn't pay me back once, they were out. So I had credit. So, I've always been doing things a little bit differently, I guess. My mom would wonder how I had like $6 extra in my pocket at like 8 years old. It was like, yeah, well, I'm not going to say names, but the
Yeah.
specific group of 2 brothers would never have any. So it was like that. And so when I found out I could tutor in high school and you can start, it turns out you can just start your own company as long as you like make money from it. You can do what you want. So, yeah.
So yeah, from an early age, you were seeking out like different ways to, and
Yeah.
you didn't know it was different. It just is how the world made sense to you. And
Made
I think,
sense to me. Yeah. I wanted a video game at age 9. And like my parents were like, well, your allowance is this week, $10 a week. And you have to do all these chores. Well, $10 a week. I'm not waiting 6 weeks for this thing. So, okay. What can I do?
how can I accelerate that and move faster?
Exactly.
So now, I'm gonna do some zooming back and forth in your journey a little bit. And so when you launch Krete and you've got this business going, a lot of people glamorize the idea of getting into the physical product space, right? You went from technology into physical products. What was the first big hurdle that you hit, and how'd you overcome it?
Do people really glamorize physical products over software? Oh my God. Why would you do that? Why on earth would you do that? The physical hurdle, every one of these you buy, I need to make one of these and get it to you wherever you are on planet Earth. It needs to physically exist. It involves chemistry. It involves packaging. It involves labeling that has legal requirements. It involves shipping and fulfillment rates. It involves or an app in an app store I download and it takes 2 cents of like extra AWS space. So the reason I did is because this is, as far as a physical good goes, about as good as it can get. It's $39. It costs almost nothing to ship it around the country. We can fulfill it all from Southern California. It turns out that skincare is very low regulation. And I mean, we make everything safe. We test it at FDA approved labs. We go way above and beyond to make sure it's safe than most other companies. And then on top of that, like the margins are great because it's not that expensive to produce. I mean, the cost comes in the acquisition for customers like anything else, but we have a subscription. Well, that comes with fulfillment, shipping, and cost of goods sold every month that they do it. It's not just a free like Hulu or Netflix that gets free money.
Right.
So, but yeah, then I get to hold something.
Right.
It's like, okay, is that really like, it just depends on the business model. We're doing well because we found a way to have our acquisition costs far lower than we make from people within 30 to 60 days. So we don't have cash flow issues. So other people I know with physical goods can't do that.
And that's a big thing. I mean, in the physical product space, acquisition cost is everything, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're talking with somebody who's just getting started into e-commerce and shipping products online, what would be your big piece of advice for them? Like, what's the big missing piece that they oftentimes don't see?
I would say you have to control the costs that you can control. Like, you have to get very serious. For instance, when I put this with our welcome card in our specific mailer, bubble mailer, with the sleeve in and the stamp, it weighs 3.99 ounces, which gets us just below the 4-ounce threshold with USPS first class shipping and bumps it down like 42 cents on average, depending on the zone. I know that because I put it all together and weighed it. It was like, we're at 4.02. Are they going to notice? I don't want to risk it. How can we shave 0.03 ounces? You have to control those kinds of things. The fulfillment cost was $2.50 a unit. I said, okay, when we hit 10,000 units a month, that has to go down to $1.75. The guy thought, okay, you're not going to be there for 6 months. Okay, a month later, we were there. So, those kinds of things, and they add up. Now, that probably saved us a couple of dollars, probably gave us about 8% margins back, which is huge. But at the end of the day, again, acquisition costs, if Facebook just decides to do well for us or poorly for us, that can fluctuate $10 in either direction and nullify that. So, again, but that's not the cost you can control. Try to constantly do better, but you can't just say, hey, Facebook, this is what I'm going to pay you. They kind of decide. So that would be my biggest thing, is the cost that you can control, which includes your team, which includes paying for legal fees if you can do it yourself, which includes, finding manufacturing partners that have high quality so you don't have a recall or just some issue like that. That's my advice first.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. So often people are focused on the parts that are harder to control, like advertising costs and things like that. But there's only so much you can do there. It's only so much you can control in that space.
Yeah, like you make it, run an ad. If it works, great. If it doesn't, pull it and run five more, try new audiences. But that's like, it's going to be experimental and you're going to be kind of burning through money on that. So obviously try to keep it small. And like
Right.
what you can control is the budget and the quality of creative. And by that, I mean, like, it doesn't necessarily mean high quality, it means quality relative to your customers.
Quality meaning effective.
Yes.
What actually worked. And
Yeah.
in the consumer packaged goods space, right? There was a shift towards really high produced quality and then almost a shift back towards native and
Native, low
user
quality.
generated
Yeah.
UGC type stuff and just, shot with their phone without too much editing. I think
Mhm.
people want more natural and organic type content now. What are you guys doing to continue to test new creatives and generate new creatives?
We've gotten very serious about new platforms. We're on Facebook and Instagram only for about a year and a half, and that was doing well. But we started seeing that, like, if we really wanted to do better, we had to get our emails and SMSs better. Because if we were spending, I'll make up a number, $40 to acquire a customer, and the AOV was $40. Okay, well, with email, let's say we recapture like an additional 10 to 15% of people. Well, then the average order value is up, or the acquisition cost is down. Either way, it shifts better in our favor. Well, we also saw that on Amazon. We were getting searched, but we weren't there. So in January, we started it. Well, we're getting like 15% of our revenue now from Amazon before we started running Amazon ads just by being listed, because people will see our Facebook and Instagram ads and then go look for us on Amazon because they're
Yep.
just more comfortable buying on Amazon. So we
Yep.
said, oh shit, this is a real situation. We just hired an SEM and SEO group because we're like, well, people, if they're searching for us on Amazon, they're definitely searching for us on Google. So let's be there. And so maybe our acquisition cost in that example is not $40, maybe it's 28, which is a completely different company. It's a completely different margins. And so that is one of the things. Additionally, I like that Amazon and Google have less of a creative lift. I'm not talking about YouTube ads. I'm talking about like
No, yeah,
search and
yeah.
shopping. And that's one of the other issues with Facebook and Instagram is get ready to be a director, producer, script writer, chaser down of micro and nano influencers. It's a lot of time and effort. And it works if you make it work, but it's a lot.
Well, and I think what I'm hearing from you is that you have to be able to pivot really quickly. Like
Hmm.
you need to be testing new things. How do you stay agile in that and not get like married to one idea, but stay focused on the bigger goals of just new customers and growth?
It's like a constant reassessment of the micro and the macro at the same time. Like, is the ad you're working because you just like found the right audience? Is it because the guy is compelling? Is it because you led with the skin issue? Is it because he leaned in? We found stuff as micro as when we have a guy lean in the first second, it does twice as well as the almost identical ad where he's just like not doing that because it stops you from scrolling. It's so there's some micro tweaking like that you kind of know by just getting very used to the content over time and noticing those bizarre things. And then there's the macro things of, should we be doing 30-second video ads that are emotionally compelling? Should we be just doing deals and offers? Should we be more clickbaity? Should we be more storytelling? Should it be younger, older? Should it be focused on a specific interest? For us, like, we're thinking that maybe people who focus on fitness probably care about how they look in their health. They'll probably like skin versus just saying what we've been doing for the last year is going after skin issues. Like, do you have dry skin? This will work. That works great. Okay, well, can we do even better if we were talking about, are you an athlete who likes dry skin? You already care about how you look and your perform, can we maybe go a little more specific? So there's macro to micro, and then, you have to be really specific about when you make a change, understand the implications of that change. If you change five things and it goes better, it's like, which of those five things were it? Was one 10x better and the others were so bad that they counteracted that thing? So, I mean, I could go into this for like a
Yeah.
month, but
You seem very analytical, very numbers
yeah,
driven. Like so for you it seems it's probably easy to just recognize everything's a split test, right? Everything's data, gather
yes,
data, make decisions
yeah.
based on data. What are some of the things that you found for you were the hardest to adjust to and like what's been most out of your comfort zone in scaling this business?
Finding good people who I can trust to just do their jobs and bring me what I call good surprises. Being an entrepreneur is a constant fucking battle of bad surprises. Like, oh, someone will email you, oh, congratulations. Or Shopify tells me this every day. You've grown. Now you need to start collecting sales tax in 6 more states. Get to the accountant, the accounting bills go up. Now I need to report and blah, blah, blah. It's like those are the surprises you get. And those are the good ones that come as you grow. There's just more to deal with. So like the developer, the head of growth, like these guys will bring me like, hey, I found a bug on the site and I fixed it. And by the way, I was considering this other landing page idea and I just kind of built it on the weekend. I'm like, okay, great. So I have people who come up with great ideas and execute, and they also think about things in the similar way. It's accountability for all things at all times. And it is very stressful, but it is far less stressful than setting money on fire or having things that don't work. The result is we need to win and things need to work. So accountability for all things at all times is like.
So it sounds like for you, you don't want to have to micromanage the people. And so you need people that are very focused and like almost self-managing and driven, similar to you. So you're all in alignment.
We still have a lot of conversations. There's not a ton of calls, but when we have calls, they're very intense and we write each other messages. They're pretty dense because everyone needs to have, again, accountability or a reason for doing something. So if we're like, okay, this week we're going to go after a younger demographic, it's not as casual as make an ad for younger people. Who's finding the content? What is the content? Who are the younger? Is it a couple? Is it this? Are we talking about use skincare and you'll get laid? Are we talking about stop signs of aging before? Like, there's a lot of questions. So I know that there are a lot of questions and I will ask them. And me or someone on the team better have the answers to them before we put a dime or another second into that thing. And so, having people that are willing to be up to that standard, you usually have to give them some equity. You have to pay them well. But that's why WhatsApp probably had those people and was servicing 100 and 200 million, whatever people with like 40 people on a team because they were the right people to do it. And then they didn't need more people. Serving another 100 million people was, okay, well, we probably have some load management things or up the server dynos, or I don't remember the software terms. I used to know it, but I don't know anymore.
As you're scaling this, how long has Krete Club been around now?
We started in 2019, but we really got started in 2021 once things opened up. I mean, 2020, I couldn't even get like these things were like all these components were sold out globally because they were used for hand sanitizer. So I literally couldn't even get it. So we built the brand and we had some strategies, but I mean, I've been self-funding this and like we had a team that was not costing me anything. So we were just kind of developing IP and strategies. But really 2021 is when we kind of hit the ground running.
Awesome. And so, I mean, that's just a couple of years. And is it exceeding what you originally thought? Are you on track?
It's funny because I don't remember what I thought at the beginning, to be honest. In like first month of sales with Shopify, we did like $3,000 or something. And then like we 10x that pretty quick. Well, was that efficient? Yes, but can we get more? So it's like you lose with growth, like you lose complete sense of like, I remember our first $1,000 day was now if we go below that, I'm like, it's like, and it was like a month or two in between those two realities. Like things normalize, at least for me, so quickly that I genuinely can't remember what my hopes and dreams were at the beginning of this year for the company. It was to launch Amazon. Great, we did that. We have almost 100 5-star reviews. That's exceeded my expectations. Is the reviews of how fast and how positive they came in. I knew they'd be good, but I didn't know we'd get that many. So yeah, I just don't know. It's funny because like to me, it's always forward. Like let's do better. I'm trying to sell this thing or make millions of dollars in sales like a month. It doesn't matter what I wanted for us last month. Yeah, it's like it's all the future. Yeah.
It things shift really, really fast. I always tell people when they're launching like an e-commerce or direct to consumer business, there's like 3 major hurdles. And after that, the sky's the limit. It's the first sale that's not from like your mom or a family member. Then the next hurdle is, that $1,000 day mark, right? Like, and then you're hitting like 83K, right? You're doing the $1 million run rate.
I love that you know that exact number. Yeah.
But then after that, it really comes down to the vision and the like agility of the CEO, of the owner of the brand, because it's there's some people that are like, you know what, that was all I wanted. I'm good. I'm going to stop there. And there's other people that see that and realize, oh man, what I thought was going to be our monthly goal is now our daily goal.
Yeah. And it's weird because I knew that was going to happen because it's happened to me before in the software company, like did well. And I remember the first dollar we made and then like it grew really fast and then it plateaued for a while and we couldn't break through. And then we tried a completely different thing and we went up like 30%, and then it plateaued there for a while. And it was like, okay, we grew fast and then plateaued. So like I've seen all kinds of growth. I've seen stagnant growth. I've seen growing your team and your costs, but not the thing. I've seen cutting your team and doing even better. I've seen a lot of stuff. So for me, it's just like, what do we need to be focusing on today, this week, this month, this year, or this quarter? Probably. I don't think we think in years because we move really fast. And like in a year, it's going to be unrecognizable. In a quarter, we'll probably have 3 more products launched. So we'll go from like 2 to 5 products, which is a big change. Bundles, upsells, cross sells, lots of new strategies. We'll have our Google and Amazon more dialed in. We'll probably have like a 30 more influencers on retainer. Like it'll be a completely different thing. And maybe we realize the influencers, that just sucks. It's a waste of my time. It's taking too much. And we cut it entirely. Who knows? So those are the things you have to be open to. The sunk cost fallacy is something I focus on a lot. Like I don't care how much we put into something. If it's not working, change it.
Yeah, I think that is one of the hardest things for people to for people to really accept. And I'm a huge believer, sunk cost fallacy, for listeners that may not know what that is, a little bit of mansplaining here, is that doesn't matter how much you've spent in the past, all decisions should be made based on what's best for the next step. Have you ever had a time where that was hard, or is that just the way your brain's
No,
wired?
I literally have never had a time, not about, at least just my personality.
Yeah, it's
You know,
always future focused.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, damn it, I've been doing all this work for something that's not working. Why would I keep doing it? Like for me, it's like, okay, thank God I've realized that thing sucked. Let me move past it. Like, let me just compartmentalize it. It's gone. So for instance, this is a made up example, but like if we started influencer marketing and I put 200K into influencers in a quarter and we hired a ton of them, micro out of this, and it took all of my time and we got posting, we got 10 followers and $8 in sales. I'd be like, I'm never like cut. Like I probably would not take 3 months. It would probably take a month for me to realize this is taking all my time. How can I do it better? I'd probably find some AI situation to like, I wish I did yesterday. I've been on Midjourney and Dolly 2, like making all of our new images for all of our static ads.
Yeah.
No more stock photos. Like, so the point is I would never give something a quarter to see if it works. I'd give it 3 days to 7 days to see, okay, what at a small scale, did this make sense? And then, it's like agile development. That's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah, you really approach that very similar to software development. Is like, stage gate, right? Hey, if it's not working anymore, I'm going to change path. In the entrepreneurial space, not everyone moves that fast and not everyone makes adjustments that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice do you have for people who are maybe a little bit less agile as they're developing? What should they be doing to move a little bit
The first
smarter?
thing is you have to just become more agile. And I don't mean you have to be testing 80 things a day. That's crazy. We're not even doing that. I've been practicing that for 12 years and my whole team has been doing it forever. We know each other and we have seamless communication. We're still not doing it like that. So it's not supposed to be some like grind every morning and make sure you're testing and shit. It's like, take a big idea. Like, hey, we're going to do a new product like an eye stick. Just ask the question, like, is that a real product? Does it have the right margins? Yes. Does it have a thing that can work in 30 seconds or under? Yes. Can it have really powerful ingredients? Does it work? And like, okay, what are our competitors doing? And so half of your agility can be just like thorough research and asking the right questions at the front to make sure that the thing you're even testing in the first place is worth testing in an agile way. Like a lot of times people have like a generally good idea, but they didn't actually think about all the specifics. Like the answers are out there. Our website is like a compilation of my favorite things of 75 other e-commerce websites when I did a crazy deep dive. We are on V1 of our website. We've edited it a couple times. It converts higher than industry standard, and we haven't changed anything major in a year and a half. Well, we do little tests here and there. Is this button blue? Is this button like, okay, those are easy, but I did so much research up front. Why this size? Why this product? Why a serum? Why hyaluronic acid? A ton of research, and then that made me even go into the formulation of it. So I would say upfront research, the answers are usually out there, at least some part of it.
Yeah, too many people get stuck in the research, right? I used to talk about how I would talk to someone and they'd say, "Oh, I've got this amazing idea," and then 2 years later, I'd talk to them like, "How's that idea going?" Like, "Oh yeah, I'm still kicking that around." Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not an idea anymore.
It is. Here's the thing. There is, and I talk about this a lot with new entrepreneurs too. There is a dopamine or serotonin or some combination of that when you have this new idea. It is like a rocket ship of amazingness of like, oh my God, I'm going to make a men's skincare company. It's not been done. And you get this like shot of adrenaline for like a week. Then you have to sit down and realize I'm at square one. I'm an outsider of the industry. How much is this going to cost me? What products do I like? Oh my God, the entire world I have to decide on. So there's a hard crash, and people usually don't recover from that crash. They just don't. And so they remember the glory feeling of that initial idea, and they hang on to it because the idea sounds good. But I've always said ideas are like 1% and execution is 99%. It's like everyone can have an idea, execute it. And
Yep.
so,
That's
there's
for
one of those
sure.
things where it's like you just have to have a long-term vision. You have to have some financial security. You have to be a little bit crazy. It's like I was an outsider. I bought equipment and formulated the first 2 products myself. Like that, looking back, was I don't even remember what made me think I had the ability to do. I mean, it turned out great, but like, what was I thinking?
Right.
I don't know. I had to be a little bit crazy. So there's an interesting combination of those things. But at the end of the day, you just need to get started. And
For
what I
sure.
usually do to get started is order a bunch of the things that exist in that space and analyze them from A to Z.
Yeah, a lot of people skip that step of like actually looking what other competitors are doing, both for what's working and where they're leaving gaps and leaving things on
100%.
the table. Yeah. So I'm a big believer, as we kind of wrap up, I'm a big believer that business isn't just about business, but also about creating a lifestyle and living a life that you actually enjoy. What is one item on your personal bucket list that you're going to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Last year, I did a very bad job of having a work-life balance. I got sucked into, and it's not the grind culture. I don't pay attention to any of that. I could have found systems that would have done the job as well as me. I just was doing a good enough job on 50 things, and I could have just said, okay, let me work on 40 things for a few weeks and find some AI tools or another person here that's in like on Upwork, and I just didn't do that. And so I wasn't working out. I wasn't whatever, and it was bad. So this year I promised myself, I was like, not only are we going to scale, but I have to replace myself in a number of things because we'd had future products on our list to do forever, and I just had no time for it. So for me, it was making sure that the one resource that you don't have an unlimited amount of was time, that I got it back. So yeah, I had to pay up for an email person to write our emails, but guess what? He's so good, he's paying for himself plus more, and I don't write a single email. That
Yeah.
probably gave me 6 hours a week back. Do that with a couple things. All of a sudden, you have a day or two to now focus on new products, focus on new this, or just not work because I was burned out.
Yep, absolutely. Jake, thanks so much for coming out on the show. And to all my biz ninjas, wherever you're listening, watching, or streaming, it's your turn to go out and do something.